Hello, Technovation alumni. My name is Alamelu, and I am so excited to be here today. I want to start off this talk with a big round of applause for every single one of you in the audience. I am in awe of this ambitious, driven, motivated group of 18 to 25-year-olds. When I was 18, I was not this driven, I wasn't a Technovation, and I didn't have your clarity of vision. So congratulations, you are starting your career journey already on a great step, and you inspire me. A little about me, I am currently the Chief of Staff to the CTO at Shopify. My mandate is to make sure that engineering and data at Shopify are successful, and I focus on any number of things to make that happen. I live in Toronto, Canada, but I grew up in India and I moved to Canada in 2011. I've worked in technology my entire career, but I've done a number of different things, and I'm looking forward to sharing a little bit more about my journey with you today. When I started planning this talk, 3 things kept coming to mind: authenticity, community, and failure. So that's what I would like to talk to you about today. And let's start by talking about the idea of failure. I started my career as a junior quality engineer. And from then to my current role, I have learned that failure is not something to be feared. I have had many failures in my career, and to me, failure is great. I know what you're probably thinking. Failure is not great. It doesn't feel great. It sucks. Some of you may not even know what I'm talking about. You may not have had a chance to fail in your life yet. I hadn't when I was 18. And you're right. It does feel awful in the moment, but it teaches you so much. It teaches you important learnings that you wouldn't get if you only did what you were already good at. And it doesn't only teach you emotional learnings like resiliency, but also tangible learnings. You can learn what not to do next time. In fact, the only failure that matters is a failure to learn. If you're never failing, it means that you're playing it safe and you're not pushing yourself. You should seek out places outside of your comfort zone and push yourself to fail. I used to rock climb, and I never ended a climbing session without climbing a route that I failed miserably at. It showed me that I had found the limit of my ability for that day, and I had gone beyond whatever my perceived limit was to my actual limit. That I had pushed as hard as I could, and that tomorrow I could take that limit one step further. And that motivated me, and that's how failure should motivate you as well. And one more thing about failure. The fact that you realize you have failed when that happens, it means that you're around people who can show you that and who have made it safe for you to do that. And that in itself is another opportunity. You can learn from the perspective of those around you, from their approach, from their experiences. And that leads me into my next thought: community and relationships. The thing that has always accelerated my career has been the relationships that I have built and the sponsors that I have had throughout my career, the people that I have learned from. Sometimes folks have chosen to sponsor me. I have been very lucky when someone, a leader, has picked me out of a crowd, has mentored me, and has chosen to be a sponsor for me. Other times, I haven't had someone choose to sponsor me, and in those cases, I have reached out to people and asked them to be my mentor or asked them to be my sponsor. It feels really awkward to do that, and I think it feels especially awkward as a woman and for me as an immigrant, because we are conditioned to not ask for what we want, but we have to fight past that awkwardness because that's what gets us what we need and opens doors for us. And I have found that whenever I have asked for help, people have surprised me. They have gone above and beyond, they have done more than I expected, and they have been great sponsors for me. Having sponsors who will say your name in rooms that you're not in will open doors for you that you cannot open. And similar to sponsors, building meaningful relationships with your colleagues, with your network, with your community, and eventually building up that community of people that you've worked with is so important. I am so grateful that everywhere I've worked, I have been able to build and add to my professional community. And I've been able to build a community with genuine care. For me, a network isn't about size. And I know that there are a lot of people, and I was like this early on as well, where I thought about a network as just checking off boxes, just adding someone to your LinkedIn, saying nice to meet you, and that's the end of the relationship. But now, for me, it's really about building deep, meaningful connections where we know each other, we care for each other, and we support each other. Building this community, this genuine community that lifts you up and supports you through your failures and through times of uncertainty. And that leads me to my last thought. In order to be you and not your resume, not who you are on paper, you have to show up as your authentic self. In my career journey, in every role, in every company that I've worked for, every role and career transition that I've made, I have always wanted to do an impactful thing. I have just sought out impact. Whenever I saw a problem to be solved, a challenge that was unaddressed, boom, that's what I wanted to do. Being impactful is really core to my reward system and to my values. So it became a North Star for me. I had this clear vision that I want to do things that create an impact for the customers, in this case, the merchants of Shopify, and for the people that I work with. By following your own values, you are on the path to becoming and trusting in your authentic self. Often, when people hear authentic self, they think it means having no personal and professional boundaries. They hear bring your whole self to work, and they think it means just being the same person everywhere superficially. But it doesn't have to mean that. To me, it means knowing who you are and making decisions and taking actions that are in line with your core values that you can look back on and be proud of. Building these core values and building this North Star will help become a driving force in your career. And having that driving force will help clarify a lot of decisions about your career when you're uncertain what the next step is or what you should do. And it can change. Your values can evolve, your North Star can change as you change and as the world around you changes. I've also learned that career paths don't have to be linear. Early in my career, I thought that career trajectories were always linear. It was junior engineer, intermediate, senior, engineering manager, engineering director. And what I've learned in my time is that they're not linear at all. At Shopify, we talk about the career jungle gym, and that is the best metaphor for what you're doing. You're swinging from one thing to the next and, making leaps and taking chances. I've found that a really helpful metaphor for me is to think of my career in terms of chapters and looking at each chapter as something valuable in and of itself. Each chapter has lessons to teach you, things for you to learn, things for you to take away, and all of those chapters together is what forms your career story. You may be in a chapter where you're extremely driven. You may be in a chapter where you're focusing on other parts of your life, but having that chapter model and being able to answer the question of what chapter am I in now? What will my next chapter be? What will I learn and accomplish now? Is what can help give you some clarity. You may not always have all the answers, and I think that's okay. I think sometimes it's very clear what we want to do next, and sometimes we wait for the future to reveal itself. But being reflective can help you be intentional about your career without being rigid about your career. So in closing, I just want to say that I am truly excited for each and every Technovation alumni here in attendance. Your careers are just beginning, and that is an exciting thing. The world is your oyster. You will write beautiful, interesting career stories of your own. Just don't be afraid of failure. Build and nurture a great community for yourself, and be true to who you are. And just know that there's no one story. Trust yourself and write the story that makes sense for you. Thank you.